She was convicted in just 6 hours. No delays. No questions. No reasonable doubt. A jury looked at the evidence. Thin, shaky, suspiciously simple, and decided it was enough to send a 24-year-old woman to prison for the rest of her life. But the truth is this. Nothing about this conviction should have been possible. Not the timeline. Not the motive. Not the evidence the prosecution insisted was airtight. This is the story of a disappearance that shook an entire town and the single phone record that changes everything. On August 14th, just after midnight, 19-year-old Elena Price walked out of a friend's apartment in Briarwood Heights and never made it home. She wasn't running away. She wasn't depressed. She wasn't meeting anyone. She simply stepped outside and disappeared into the warm summer air. The last person to see her alive? Her friend, Mia Rowan, who said Elena got a phone call, whispered, "I'll be quick," and slipped out the door. That call became the focal point of the entire case. Because according to police, the call never existed. 2 days later, police arrested Elena's ex-boyfriend, Aaron Kessler, a quiet, soft-spoken engineering student who still lived with his parents. The motive? They argued a week earlier. That was it. Police insisted Aaron called Elena minutes before she vanished. They claimed he lured her out. They claimed neighbors heard voices near the woods. But here's the first crack. Aaron's phone wasn't even turned on that night. His service provider confirmed it. His mother testified he was asleep. His phone was found on his charging dock untouched. But the prosecution didn't care. Because Mia, the only witness, said she heard his voice through the door. And in a case starving for answers, one shaky statement became the entire foundation of a timeline. 5 days after Elena vanished, search teams found her car near Hollow Creek, a dense forest outside town. Inside the vehicle, her shoes, her purse, her student ID, her phone, screen cracked, battery missing. Outside, near the tree line, investigators discovered a trail of footprints. But they didn't match Elena's shoes, or her size, or her stride. They were larger, wider, heavier. So police did what they always do in cases like this. They ignored them. Instead, they focused on one thing they could use. A single fingerprint on the driver's side door. Aaron's fingerprint. Except, he had previously driven Elena's car. They dated for 3 years. His prints should have been everywhere. But prosecutors argued this one print was fresh and therefore critical. The judge allowed it. The jury accepted it. And Aaron was found guilty of murder without a body. Case closed. But the story didn't end there. Exactly 1 year after the verdict, an intern in the district attorney's office was digitizing old case files. Routine, boring, administrative, until she stumbled upon a single, misfiled document. A document that had never appeared in court. A document that should have destroyed the prosecution's case. The phone record, a real, physical printout from the cell tower Elena's phone connected to the night she vanished. The record showed a call at 12:03 a.m., the call Mia heard. But here's the part that flipped the entire case upside down. The number wasn't Aaron's. It wasn't Mia's. It wasn't Elena's parents'. It belonged to a prepaid phone registered to a man who lived 30 miles away. A man who died 3 years earlier. A man who could not have placed that call, unless someone else had that phone. Investigators reopened the file. But not publicly. Not officially. The intern leaked the document to a private investigator named Lila Crane, who had always believed Aaron was innocent. Lila pulled the cell tower logs. She traced the prepaid number. She dug into the ownership records. And what she found was impossible to ignore. The phone had pinged 3 towers that night. 3 towers forming a straight line, leading directly toward the exact location where Elena's car was found. Someone used that phone to call her, then tracked her, all the way to Hollow Creek. But that wasn't the real twist. The real twist came when Lila discovered what happened 2 minutes after the call disconnected. At 12:05 a.m., Elena's phone received a second call. A call that lasted 4 seconds. A call police claimed never existed. A call that was manually erased from the record. But the backup system stored a fragment of the tower handshake, a fragment that placed the second caller in one location, the Briarwood Heights Police Department. So now the case had three impossible problems. The call Mia heard came from a dead man's phone. A second call pinged from inside a police building. Aaron's phone was off the entire night. And then came the detail that changed everything. The intern dug deeper into police archives and found a complaint from another young woman filed 9 months before Elena vanished. The same neighborhood, the same pattern, the same mysterious caller. Her case went nowhere. It was marked, insufficient evidence, close file. But there was a name scribbled in the corner. A detective's name. The same detective who found Elena's car so quickly. The same detective who insisted the case was simple. The same detective who testified that Aaron's fingerprint was fresh. Detective Jonah Mercer. A man with 2 complaints of evidence mishandling, 1 suspension for procedural irregularities, and a sealed reprimand no one could access. But now one question mattered more than all the rest. Why did Mercer want the case closed so fast? Lila requested Mercer's dispatch logs. They showed nothing unusual, but phone tower logs told a different story. Mercer's personal phone had been pinging near Hollow Creek 20 minutes before the search even began. How did he get there so fast? Why was he in the exact place Elena's car would be found before the search team arrived? And why was his phone moving at 12:07 a.m., only 2 minutes after the second mystery call? Unless he wasn't searching. Unless he was already there. And that's when Lila uncovered something even darker. Mercer's brother, Gavin, owned a cabin near Hollow Creek. A cabin that matched the footprints found near Elena's car. A cabin with a history of trespassing reports from local hikers. A cabin that was burned down 3 days after Aaron's conviction. Cause of fire, unknown. No investigation conducted. Lila tracked down a retired dispatcher who remembered the night Elena disappeared. She hesitated at first, but when Lila showed her the midnight phone record, the dispatcher whispered something that chilled her. I heard her voice. She wasn't speaking to Aaron. She was pleading with someone else. Lila asked, "Who?" The dispatcher looked down. "I don't know, but I heard a man say, you shouldn't have answered." Lila summarized her findings in a confidential report. She planned to meet with the intern who leaked the phone record. They agreed to meet at 9 p.m. at a diner off Highway 12. Neutral ground. Quiet. Safe. Lila arrived early. The intern never arrived. At 9:17 p.m., Lila's phone buzzed. A text message. No name. No number. No punctuation. Just 4 words. Stop digging. Too late. She raced to call the intern. No answer. She checked her email. Nothing. Then, at 9:22 p.m., the security camera outside the diner captured a black SUV speeding away from the parking lot. The intern's backpack was later found in a drainage ditch 2 miles down the road. Inside, a broken phone, a torn notebook page, and a single handwritten line. He was never working alone. Lila froze. If Mercer wasn't the only one involved, if the second caller came from inside the police department, if someone erased an entire phone record to frame an innocent man, then the real killer wasn't just still out there. He might still be inside the building meant to catch him. And the next missing person might be the one trying to expose the truth.